Okay guys, now we're looking at the distributive property. The distributive property we've already seen. I've shown it to you, and I've shown it to you earlier in this course. The distributive property is that idea of coming into the classroom and distributing evenly to everyone inside the classroom. I think I did it with cookies. I came in and I said, okay, I'm going to give cookies to everyone. Everyone's got to get a cookie in the classroom. So inside this bracket is the classroom, and the 2 is coming into it. What this really means is 2x minus 3. What it really means is x minus 3 plus x minus 3. In other words, there are 2 x minus 3 brackets. Well, if we get rid of the brackets, there's only a 1 in front, we don't need them. What we get is an x plus an x, like terms. Negative 3, take away 3. And that is your answer. Well, using this distributive property, it's a shortcut to doing that. Look what happens. I take my 2 and I multiply it by the x and I get 2x. I take my 2 and multiply it by the 3 and I get negative 6. I've got the same result. So that's the distributive property, and that's the way we're going to go about doing these. It just makes life easy. So it's going to be equal to 2x minus 6. Next one. Trick here is to make sure that you're distributing the entire number, and the negative is part of that number. I suggest you draw the arrows. Okay, it makes your life easier. So this is going to be negative 2x squared. Negative times negative is positive. 8x. 2, 5, negative 10. Put your equal sign. And that means that this expression is equal to that expression. Okay. 5x being multiplied into those 2 terms. Well, as we've discussed, the 5 and the 2 can multiply to give 10. The x times the x is x squared. 5x times 1. And we're done. Neat. Okay. How do we use this when we're talking about area? Well, area of a rectangle is going to be length times width. Now, generally, in the real world, length is always the longer of the 2. Regardless how you orient the object, the length should be the longer of the 2. So this actually, when we're talking about this one, should be the length. That should be the width. This should be the length. That should be the width. Now, it doesn't always follow that way in mathematics, but it does in real life. So the longer one is the length. So, area, length times width. That's a formula. You got to remember it. That times, that's a time sign. That's not an x. So you're going to see me probably writing it more often like length times width with brackets. So the length is going to be 17, and my width is going to be 2x. It says calculate the area of each rectangle. Well, I can't really calculate it. That's the formula. I can have a simplified expression for it. 17 times 2 is 34x, and it will be units squared because it's area. Now, I didn't really calculate the area. I'm not so keen on that word. I think we could say simplify an expression for the area. That would be much more accurate with this. That word calculate really should be simplify an expression for the area. Okay? That's just me being very picky. Okay, so here we go. We got another one. So we're after the area. Now remember, the area is this part, right? So it's going to be length times width. So area equals length, x plus 5. And I put it in brackets like I did here, times 2. Now, this is set up a little bit differently than the other ones. All the other ones have looked like this. And to be honest with you, they've looked more like this. There's no difference. Order of operation doesn't matter. So if it's this times this, it's the same as this times this. So I can rewrite it if you're more comfortable with that. And using the distributive property. Now the truth of the matter is I could have gone this way with the distributive property. There's no problem with that. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 5 is 10x. So if you would rather, you can go directly from here using the distributive property. and come up with your answer. And again, it's units squared because it's area. Okay, let's look at number 7. Square each term. Well, squaring is an operation, and what it means is to multiply it by itself. So that's what it means by to square each term. And what that means is the base times itself. And what that gives you is positive 25. And pretty straightforward. So 2x squared will be 2x squared. Put the brackets in. Now what that means is 2x times 2x. And what that's going to be is 4x squared. So you want to be careful there. You need to make sure that you square everything inside the brackets. So that's going to be the 4 as well. And the negative 4x, well, that's going to be negative 4x squared, which is negative 4x times negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 4 is a positive, kids. So it's 16x squared. That's pretty cool. Number 8, evaluate. Love that word. Evaluate means come up with a numerical answer. So I've got 7 squared minus 5 squared. So I'm going to use my calculator here. And 7 squared is 49. Take away 5 squared, which is 25. And so now I guess it's going to be 24 is the answer. So 49, subtract 25, 24. Did I say 24? I don't know. All right. But remember that we had to do the squaring first because that's bedmass, right? Bedmass. Brackets, which there aren't any. Exponents, which there are 2 of them. Then addition and subtraction. So the exponents are coming first. So looking at this one, we're going to get 64 minus negative 2 squared. Be careful with that. Negative times negative is positive. But we still have that negative out there, which gives us a final answer of 60. Yay! All right, number 9. Then we're done this. We're looking at determine the area of the shaded region. All right, here's the shaded region. The entire region is 10 by 10. Oh my goodness. The unshaded region is 4 by 4. So the region that is shaded will be the big region. All of it. 10 by 10. Subtract the unshaded. And I think I goofed up earlier. I think I said the shaded region was 10 by 10. It's not. The big region is. So the area of the big region is going to be 10 by 10 centimeters, which is 100 centimeters squared. The area of the unshaded is going to be 4 times 4, which is 16 centimeters squared. Therefore, the shaded will equal the area of the big minus the area of the unshaded. Are you ready for this, people? This is exciting. It's time for the Fiesta Trio. Dun 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 dun. All the Dora the Explorer fans out there will know what I'm talking about. And we are at 84. But if you want full marks, and I'm talking full marks, you need to have centimeters squared. Your physics teachers will thank me later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough for now. You can get a start on some of the practice questions, and we'll see you shortly.